Sit a little closer, because I want to tell you a story that began in a small room at Harvard, where the smell of old books mixed with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the clatter of laptop keys echoed around. Here, among the semi-darkness and endless notes, an idea was born that would soon change the world. A young student named Mark Zuckerberg sat on the floor, covered in papers and a laptop, and looked at the code he had just written. He felt fear and excitement at the same time. It was a moment when any mistake could destroy everything, and the right line of code could open a new era. Mark knew that students were looking for a place to connect, share ideas, and feel part of a community. But the idea seemed crazy, to create a platform for communication that would unite Harvard students. The room was quiet. Only occasionally the rustle of pages and the click of a mouse could be heard. And at that moment, he pressed enter, and a little magic began to work. The first line of code came to life. The first profile page was created, and it seemed that anything was possible. This is where the real magic of small beginnings began. A small startup called Facebook was born. At first, it was only seen by Harvard students, but each new user was like a breath of fresh air that fueled the idea. The team was small, but full of energy. Every night turned into a coding marathon. Every morning alarm clock was a new chance to improve something. There were doubts. What if no one needs this? What if we fail? But fear only pushed forward. The strongest moment of the beginning was not the first millions of users or large investments, but the feeling that a small idea could change the lives of thousands of people. Each profile, each new registration was like a small triumph that inspired me to move on. In this tiny room space, not just a website was born, but the beginning of a big dream. And even then it became clear. The path would be difficult, but if you believe in your idea and work every minute, it could turn into something grandiose. Small beginnings always smell like big dreams. And it was here, among the nightly keys and the aroma of coffee, that Facebook was born, a platform that would eventually unite the world. If the first night in the Harvard dormitory was the magic of the beginning, the following months showed that magic always comes with challenges. Facebook was just being born, and doubts were already swirling around it. Students argued, "Why do we need this site?" Investors looked skeptical, saying, "Who would pay attention to a small Harvard startup?" Every technical error became a disaster. The server crashed, pages did not load, data was lost. The team felt pressure from all sides. But the real drama was happening inside the team. The young founders argued about the direction of the project, about which features to do first and which to leave for later. The energy of the first victories mixed with the despair of the first defeats. The room was often hot, not only because of the technical problems, but because of the arguments and emotions that were boiling. And it was then that Mark and his team learned an important lesson. A crisis is not the end. It is a test of true strength and faith in your idea. One of the key scenes of this period is a nighttime team meeting. It was dark, the lamp illuminated only part of the room, and a cup of cold coffee stood on the table. Everyone sat in silence, and everyone knew. The future of Facebook depended on this decision. Arguing, laughing, and even a little angry, they decided not to give up. The risk was huge. If you continue, you can lose time and resources. If you stop, you can lose the chance forever. And then a simple but fateful phrase was uttered. We are moving forward. We believe in this idea. And then a small miracle happened. After a few nights of coding and debugging, the server was up and running. Users were signing up faster than anyone could have expected. This was the moment when the first defeat turned into fuel for the team to move forward. The team felt confident, and this feeling did not leave them even in the most difficult moments of the following months. This stage taught me one key rule. A crisis is a chance for a new start. Sometimes, when all seems lost, it is perseverance and faith that allow you to turn the situation around. Facebook grew out of these nights of arguments, technical problems, and doubts within the team. And if you now imagine a room where silence reigns and the light of the lamp reflects on tired eyes, you will feel the energy that will later turn a small startup into something that will change the world. After a storm of doubts and the first crises, the moment came when Facebook really began to come to life. Each new user was like a breath of fresh air. Pages were opened, profiles were filled, friends found each other. There was a special energy in the room. Some were happy with success, some were nervous about small mistakes. But the general atmosphere was charged with faith in an idea that was starting to take on a life of its own. The first victories were small, but incredibly meaningful. Imagine, the alarm clock rings in the morning and you see that the number of users has increased by another 100, that one of your friends has shared their profile with others, and each new message means that the idea is working. Every member of the team felt proud and motivated to continue. This was the moment when fear and doubt began to recede, giving way to excitement and delight. But it wasn't without challenges. Competitors weren't sleeping either. Other platforms tried to pull users away, servers crashed from time to time, and technical issues became a serious test. At one of the meetings, when everyone was discussing another error in the system, someone cracked a joke that lightened the atmosphere, and the team came together again. It was a small but important lesson. Supporting each other, even in the most difficult moments, gives you the strength to move forward. And here is the first real triumph. The first 1,000 users are actively using the site. They add friends, write messages, share photos. The team celebrated, laughed, and cried a little with joy. They realized that their idea does not just work, it matters to people. It was the first feeling of a big dream starting to take shape. During this period, Facebook taught them another important rule. Even small victories are steps towards a grand result. Every profile, every registration, every message was evidence that an idea can grow and a team can change the world. And if you close your eyes now, you can imagine this room full of laughter, keys, coffee, and the expectation of something big. The moment when a small startup turns into something more than just a website. This stage showed that even after crises, the first steps forward can provide an incredible boost. Sometimes it's enough to just feel that your idea is alive, and then nothing seems impossible anymore. Remember that small room at Harvard where the idea was born? That room seems so far away now, as Facebook began to grow and change faster than anyone could have imagined. The team was on the verge of a big step, moving beyond the campus where it all began. It was a moment where fear and excitement fused into one powerful emotion: grow or disappear. The first office outside Harvard looked modest, but the atmosphere there was explosive. The tables were covered with laptops, the walls were covered with sketches of future features, and the floor was littered with empty coffee cups that had already become a symbol of late-night marathons. The founders were making tough decisions: investors, legal challenges, disputes within the team. Every little thing could be an obstacle or a chance for a breakthrough. One of the key decisions was to change the name to Facebook and open the platform to everyone, not just Harvard students. It was a symbolic and bold move. A small startup was transforming into a global platform. The room was silent when they announced the change, a sense of grandeur mixed with fear of the unknown. Everyone understood that if this move failed, the project could disappear forever. And here the real test began. The servers were barely able to handle the load. Users were actively registering, and competitors were trying to catch up. The team worked nonstop, from morning until late at night. But in every line of code, in every new feature, there was a feeling that they were creating something more than just a website. They were changing the way people communicate. Their first global step taught them an important rule: bold decisions shape the future. When you step outside the familiar and into the unknown, you either fall or soar to new heights. Facebook then chose the second path, and the world began to notice. Every new registration, every new friend, every photo and post was proof that a small start can turn into something grand. This stage showed Transformation is always painful, but necessary. It teaches that big dreams require bold steps, and even when fear paralyzes, faith and determination can push forward. Facebook is no longer just a website. It is a platform that is about to unite the whole world. The world suddenly became smaller when Facebook stopped being just a site for Harvard students. Every click, every message, every photo began to connect people across continents. Imagine, someone in Tokyo sends a photo from a party to friends in New York, and it instantly appears on the screens of hundreds of people. That moment was magical. A small idea born in a room with coffee and laptops turned into a global communication channel. But breakthroughs never come without challenges. Competitors were trying to catch up, investors were demanding quick results, and the team was starting to argue about strategy and new features. There were moments when it seemed like everything could go wrong. And then Mark and his team did what defines true leaders. They listened to their users, learned from their mistakes, and made bold decisions despite their fears. The first major breakthrough came when Facebook opened up to everyone, not just students. The number of users was growing rapidly, the servers were barely able to cope, and the team was working more harmoniously than ever. Imagine a late-night meeting, lamplight illuminating the walls, laptops humming, and hundreds of thousands of new accounts appearing on the screens. It was a moment of triumph, the first real proof that their idea was connecting the world. The next step was international expansion. Each new country, each new city brought its own cultural challenges and technical issues. But the team learned to turn these difficulties into opportunities. Every failure, a server crash or a privacy scandal, became a lesson and an excuse to become even better. The magic of this period is that Facebook has gone beyond just being a website. It has become a symbol of global connection, a place where people can find friends, share moments of life, and influence society. Imagine a child in Africa seeing family photos for the first time through the platform, or a student in Brazil sharing their thoughts with friends in Canada. It is no longer just a technology. It is a force that is changing the way billions of people live. The lesson of this stage is simple and powerful. Global success comes to those who are able to learn, adapt, and are not afraid to scale. Every step forward, even a risky one, makes the idea stronger and the team wiser. Facebook showed then that a small room at Harvard can be the beginning of a story that will unite the whole world. The world has changed, and Facebook has changed with it. What was once a small student project has become a global platform where every click can have an impact in the millions. But with great power comes great responsibility. Suddenly, the news that spread through Facebook became fake. Algorithms could influence the opinions of millions, and the world began to ask the hard questions. Does this platform always do good? The team was in a tense period. Founders and managers would gather for meetings where emotions would run high. Every new privacy or fake news scandal felt like a personal defeat. Difficult decisions became a daily challenge. Which features to launch, which to restrict, how to protect users while remaining profitable. One evening, the office was quiet. The big screens showed statistics on the spread of misinformation. The team sat in silence. Everyone understood the scale of the problem. But this is where Facebook's true strength comes into play, its ability to turn a crisis into an opportunity. Developers and managers decided to act. They changed the algorithms, introduced new fact-checking tools, and even if these steps were unpopular, they showed that the platform was willing to learn and change. This period taught the team the most important rule: adapt quickly or be left behind. The world does not stand still, and neither does technology. Every new problem, every criticism is an opportunity to become better if you learn from your mistakes and are not afraid to make difficult decisions. And while it may seem overwhelming at times, Facebook continues to grow, innovate, and remain a global platform that connects people. Through these challenges, the team has learned that responsibility and courage go hand in hand, and that's what makes the platform a true force for change. The lesson of this stage is simple but powerful. With great power comes great challenges, and only those willing to take responsibility and act can turn a crisis into a new opportunity. Facebook has shown that even a giant can learn and change, and the world is always open to those who boldly move forward.